You gotta know Donald Trump's weak spots. Malignant narcissists like Trump like to be called a dictator, but they hate to be called stupid. They hate to be called dumb. They hate to have it pointed out that they are cognitively adult. And this is what I love about California Governor Gavin Newsom and how some of the other Democrats are doing it. And I hate to be crass, but you've got to bully Donald Trump for being cognitively adult. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that, because it's Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has attacked everybody else. And he who screams the loudest sometimes is the person who's trying to hide what's really going on here. So let's expose the secrets of Donald Trump that I think are not so secret. And I think Governor Gavin Newsom is doing a fantastic job exposing it. For example, last night during his press conference, Governor Gavin Newsom said, "We did have one phone call, which I've talked about before. When Donald Trump called me, I called him. We had a conversation. This was around, June 7th. And he said, I was trying to talk about Los Angeles. Trump did not want to talk about LA. He goes, Trump was zigzagging on these topics. He goes, frankly, I'm so embarrassed because I still have some respect for the presidency. I'm so embarrassed that I'm not even going to tell you how embarrassing what Trump was, but he is not there. He is not with it." Here's Governor Newsom doing it. Here, play this clip right here.
A call that you might have been aware that this was coming, or can you confirm whether or not you knew that this was coming, this order was coming?
Of course not. Yeah, no, absolutely not. We were back and forth with Susie Wiles as chief of staff, and then called mayor of Los Angeles, saw a missed call from the president, called him back, actually texted him back, you want full disclosure, and he called me right back. We discussed for a nanosecond Los Angeles, and he immediately zigged and zagged into 7 or 8 other topics, some extraordinarily familiar and some extraordinarily remarkable, considering the world we're living in.
And then Governor Newsom points out that and Donald Trump's making up fake conversations. He's having mysterious conversations with me. Play this clip.
Not a monarch. He is not a king, and he should stop acting like one.
Governor, when's the last time you spoke to the president?
I spoke to him on Friday night. He had a mysterious conversation with me 3 days later. You can't even make this stuff up.
And I would say, can you imagine if former President Biden or former President, I don't need to say that. This stuff is insane. And we here at the MeidasTouch Network are just going to call it out. Now, I'll just talk about the past 24 hours, right? So yesterday, when Donald Trump held this deranged press conference, what was one of the main topics that he was talking about? He was saying that he saved Los Angeles from the wildfires, that all of LA would have been burned down, because he says that he took the water from the Pacific Northwest and routed it to LA, and he saved the day. I'm going to show you another clip in a moment where California Governor Gavin Newsom says, Donald Trump makes up a fake world where he's like the Marvel superhero in his own fake reality. But here's Donald Trump. This is a lie that he tells over and over again, where he says Donald Trump believes that Canada borders California, and he believes that there's a button or like a wheel that you can turn, a valve that you turn to release the water to Southern California. And that's what stopped the wildfires. Play this clip.
But he knows, Los Angeles would be right now burning to the ground, just like the houses burned to the ground. It's so sad what's going on in Los Angeles. Think of it. They had a fire that should have never had because they should have listened to me in the water. Eventually, we broke in and we had the water come down from the Pacific Northwest. I could show you pictures now with the half pipes, the big half pipes coming all the way down California.
See, what Donald Trump really did, though, is that he had the Army Corps of Engineers. Just think about this. Let's get enough attention. He had the Army Corps of Engineers go into central Northern California in a reservoir that had about 2 billion gallons of water reserved for a dry summer. They drained it and they pushed all the water out through the kind of aqueduct water piping system into the farmland back in February, when the fires were 100% contained, it didn't reach Southern California because it's not connected. And the fires were 100% contained. The waterway doesn't even get to Southern California, and Canada does not border California. This is what this guy thinks. Here's Governor Newsom saying that Donald Trump is a Marvel hero, and he creates a world where he's his own Marvel hero. Here, watch this.
What do you make of the president today coming out and saying he wants to protect California farm workers from deportation, given what you...
This is what he does. He creates a problem, and then he tries to be a hero in his own Marvel movie. Did it on fill in a blank on almost every topic, creates the problem, and then tries to do a make-believe as if you're all perfect little sheep, and you're going to go on with it to be the hero in his own Marvel movie. He initiated those raids. He significantly increased the scale and scope of those raids. That's why he wants the National Guard. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guards, men and women, now being dispersed everywhere, sprinter vans, unmarked, people with masks, running in, rolling over, some case running into cars, 6-month-old kid, a 3-year-old child in the back of the car, left. So, spare me, Mr. President, that he's sincere. But if he is, that happened because of you. It happened because of the American people, because they stood up. And that should give us some optimism.
Now, we forget about these things. We don't hear at the MeidasTouch Network. We focus on it all the time. But remember when Donald Trump, what was this? A month ago? A month ago. Remember his big deal a month ago? Alcatraz. I'm going to reopen Alcatraz. Remember when he said that? I'm going to reopen Alcatraz. Remember he was going to create Trump Gaza and Trump Gaza hotels, that he made those videos also with himself and Netanyahu. Remember he just comes up with these things and then no one hears from him again. But Trump Alcatraz, he was going to open up Alcatraz. And then remember he was asked, and then Roger Goodell's standing by his side for some reason, embarrassing himself and humiliating himself. What else is new? And then Donald Trump says, I wanted to be a movie maker all my life. Nobody ever escaped Alcatraz. The sharks are eating people. I mean, just listen to him. If you pull a transcript of what he's saying, it is quite literally insane. Play this clip.
How did you decide to reopen Alcatraz? Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up. And it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country. And so we're going to look at it. Some of the people up here are going to be working very hard on that. And we had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now, it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. You look at it, it's sort of you saw that picture that was put out. It's sort of amazing. But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
Now, we here at the MeidasTouch Network made this short, and we ask, I think, a serious question, which is, does Donald Trump have frontotemporal dementia? And we just give the facts. I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but we just give the facts. Here, play this clip.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, "Sir, don't dignify it with a Refuddle.
Have you been noticing peculiar behavior recently in someone you know?
Carried out by
Someone who mixes fiction and reality?
the late great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man.
Perhaps someone of advanced age you have known for years.
Did you just see Maduro, Venezuela? Though it's unbelievable, Venezuela.
Of course, we all have our goofs. But consistently odd behavior can be a sign of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative disease of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain that dramatically impairs cognitive function. And there are some key signs to look out for, like slurring words,
The failing New York Times by anonymous, really anonymous.
struggling to find the correct words is another sign.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges of the investigation.
You may also notice someone veering into incoherent ideas, detached from reality.
You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Or an inability to complete simple sentences.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Other notable symptoms include impaired motor function, such as a wavering limb, and decreased balance, often accompanied by a signature lean or arched stance. If someone you know is demonstrating several or all of these symptoms, they are seriously unwell. As a matter of safety, they must be relieved of critical responsibilities and disqualified from any position of authority. Remember, frontotemporal dementia is a degenerative disease. Cognitive function will never return and will only deteriorate further. Don't ignore the signs.
Now, remember Donald Trump during his first term bragging about passing the dementia test? Play this clip.
Who is more competent? Whose mind is sounder? Biden beats you in that.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a test. Let's take a test right now. Let's go down. Joe and I will take a test. Let him take the same test that I took.
Incidentally, I took the test too when I heard that you passed it.
Yeah, how did
it's
you
not
do?
It's not the hardest test.
No, but
There's a picture and it says, what's that? And it's an elephant.
No. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation. Because, yes, the first few questions are easy, but I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard, the last 5 questions.
Well, one of them was count back from 100 by 7.
And let me tell you, you couldn't answer.
All right, what's the question?
Many of the questions. I just look at school. I watch. I read. Look at the stuff.
And now here, this is on January 17, 2024. Trump bragging that he aced a dementia test again. Play this clip.
But I said, well, I'm good at tests. So what's the story? He said, well, the problem is, people will find out. And if you do badly, it's not a particularly good thing. You don't want to have some guy get like a disaster. I said, well, is that a hard test? It can be hard. I said, look, I got to take it because I got to shut it up. And I took it and I aced it. I think it was 30 questions. And let me tell you, they always show you the first one, like a giraffe, a tiger, or this or that, a whale. Which one is the whale? Okay, and that goes on for 3 or 4, and then it gets harder and harder and harder, and then it's multiplied 3,293 times 4, divide by 3. They have plenty of tough stuff. But those last 15, 20 questions.
Also, the White House is now deleting the transcripts of Trump. And Drudge Report put a Dementia Watch, curious case of Trump's disappearing transcripts right there. And now we all know the real reason why ABC fired Terry Moran. It's because Donald Trump's, again, not so secret, came out of the box when Donald Trump was saying that Abrego Garcia literally had the letters MS and then the numbers 13 on his knuckles. And Terry Moran looked at him like, I think you're an idiot. Here, play this clip.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry. Terry.
He did not have the
do that.
letter MS13.
It says MS13.
That was Photoshop. So let me
That
just...
was Photoshop, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it
agree
was
to disagree.
Photoshop? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had
Fair enough.
MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine,
No,
sir.
Terry,
I want to get to
Terry,
Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't
Take a look
there,
at the
but
photograph.
they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
he's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
All right. Well, we'll take a look.
It's you just such a disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
So there it is. I'll let you judge for yourself. You can decide right there. Oh, and here's Gavin Newsom saying that Trump lost it. This was with Alex Michelson. Let me play this one for you.
You can't handle. Because the other night, he came out and said that when you guys spoke, he warned you that if you didn't get things under control, he was going to bring in troops.
Stone cold liar. Stone cold liar. He made that up. Like he makes up so many other things. He never said that.
And he also seemed to make up this idea that the National Guard did a great job last night when they weren't here.
They weren't even deployed, and he claimed victory. He's lost it. He hasn't lost a step. And I saw him trip on the steps today. I mean, this is serious. He is not the same person that I dealt with just 4 years ago. And he's incapable now of even a train of thought. He's making things up, and he's putting people's lives at risk. And he's got a band of people that are complicit in this. And that's what's so damn alarming.
Yeah, so you judge for yourself. You tell me what you think. I just give you the data. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.